Welcome back to YouTube History. In this episode, we're going to be diving deeper into one of the website's glaring oddities, Poppy. I'm sure you recognize her from back around 2016 due to being covered by various YouTubers, but if you know the full story of how she went from that to current day, what changed Poppy's style, and what happened to Titanic Sinclair? Well, to answer all of that, we must start at the beginning. Now, as expected, there isn't too much information about her before she signed with Island Records, but I'll try to do my best. Pretty much, her real name is Mariah Pereira, and she grew up in Nashville. In 2011, she created 2 YouTube channels. One of these was called Mariah Poppy, where she posted vlogs and song covers. Around this time, she also performed at small shows and cameoed on Jessie due to knowing Debbie Ryan. But this channel was deleted by 2014, as she focused on her other channel, simply called Poppy. The content on her older channel is either lost or scattered re-uploads. This is due to creating a new persona for herself, as in 2013 she moved to Los Angeles. There, she met a certain man through mutual friends, Titanic Sinclair. He had previously worked with a musical stylings of Mars Argo, but the two had a falling out. I'll discuss more of that later on, don't worry. So he's a pretty interesting, to say the least, director, and with a new persona to explore, Poppy would start uploading a new brand of content of videos in November 2014. The current oldest post on the channel is called Poppy Eats Cotton Candy, and is what you would expect. This new persona of hers would definitely get people's attention, with more and more uploads. The new persona portrays her as this weird, soft-spoken, and ambient figure who would upload whatever random shit she wants. And some of these videos really reflected that, with her most infamous one being I'm Poppy, which is literally just 10-minute long clip where she repeats her name like a bunch of times.
I'm Poppy, 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 I'm Poppy.
There's also famous people, where she names random celebs and other well-known people off the top of her head.
Michael Jackson, Kanye West, Benjamin Franklin, Dr. Seuss, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Throughout this time, she was looking for a record label to sign with, and she finally found one in mid-2015 with Island Records. That summer, she released her first song called Everybody Wants to Be Poppy, and a month later, she dropped the music video for the song Low Life. And I had to admit, this song is pretty good. Titanic honestly did a great job directing this. I'll try and give a summary in one sentence. Satan eats a banana, and Poppy can't take this shit anymore. She would also release her first EP in February 2016 called Bubble Bath. Her channel uploads honestly started getting weirder. Now, the I'm Poppy video is definitely the weirdest, but the quantity of it overall increased, and they are all done in a clever way. Some of these are done to make fun of fame and the influence of it, but some found her a bit creepy and unnerving, as she got more coverage because of this. By late 2016, a ton of other YouTubers began talking and analyzing about her, like Rainbot Horror, MatPat, Top 15s, Nightmind, and even PewDiePie.
I'm Poppy! I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy! I'm Poppy. I'm Poppy.
Some of these people were mainly trying to figure out what her deal was. Is there any deeper meaning behind this, or is she just odd? The obvious answer is both. She continued making this type of content for a while until a couple years later. On October 6, 2017, she released her debut album, Poppy.Computer, with the record label Mad Decent. It did pretty well, and she went on tour for the first time because of it. Her and Titanic would also create an interactive fan site called Poppy.Church, which eventually shut down. Mars was of course Titanic Sinclair's previous partner, who just so happened to have a similar persona to Poppy. They began content together a few years before he and Poppy did, with skits in a series called The Computer Show. In 2014, they had a nasty breakup, which involved some truly horrible events. On April 17, 2018, Mars filed a 44-page lawsuit on the duo, mainly alleging copyright infringement. Not only that, but she also alleged Titanic, real name Corey Mixter, physically and emotionally abused her when they were together. Back during their breakup, he apparently broke into her home and punched her in the face only a few days later. An incident was recorded in which he demanded Mars, whose real name is Brittany Sheets, to give it the name of a Facebook group, while he smashed all of her wine glasses.
Garrett ever watches this, he'll know. Talk to me like your brother that I am, and you're losing because you're getting controlled. They are controlling you, son.
Not too long after these allegations, Poppy surprisingly released a statement where she defended Titanic and made some accusations about Mars Argo. According to her, she is collaborating and maintaining a relationship with a man named Joshua Morin, who took advantage of her when she was a lot younger. She even showed proof of a restraining order against him. Footage was also released of Joshua and Titanic fighting due to some music video idea being stolen. On September 14th, the case was settled out of court with a few interesting things to note. For one, Mars got the rights to her likeness back, plus the copyright case against Poppy was dropped. Also in 2018, Poppy released her second album called Am I a Girl, which also did really well. Around this time she began developing a slightly different persona, which had to have been slightly influenced by the lawsuit for sure. This was honestly a really good move on her part, which really separated herself from the controversy. This man is really the root of all Poppy's problems. He had shown signs of it in the past, as well as just being an asshole, especially on Twitter. But Mars Argo is only the beginning in exposing the monster he truly is. Poppy had had enough, and by December 2019, she confirmed that the two parted ways. Now I'd usually summarize this myself, but pretty much I'm going to be reading word for word what she said. To whom it may concern, I grappled with the thought of making this statement, but I decided to do this to set the record straight. As some of you may know, my former creative partner and I have parted ways. This was a long time coming, but this is a person whom I defended in the past because I thought he was just misunderstood. The reason I am making this statement is due to the amount of misinformation online about me and my character, and I owe it to myself to clear a few things up. I met this person at a young age, and things were seemingly good for a while until echoes from his past were too loud to ignore. I was never an accomplice to this person's past actions like some believe. I was a person who suffered similar wrongdoings as one of his former partners brought to light. This person glamorizes suicide and has used it many times in the past to manipulate me. And the last time I finally had enough. As a grab for attention, he messaged fans before he tried to hang himself while I was on tour with an item that belonged to me. These are tactics that I used for years. This person lives an illusion that he is a gift to his earth. He weaved himself into a storyline, wanting the public to believe he was a puppeteer, which is too far from the truth. In light of recent events brought to my attention, he is already quick to jump in and use my former friends as the next experiment, repeating manipulative patterns he has for years. I was trapped in a mess that I needed to dig my way out of, and like I always do, I figured out how to handle it. I encourage those of you who feel trapped in a situation, whether it be similar or to my previous one or not, to take the first step because that is the most difficult one. This is not a request for sympathy, and I am not a weak victim, but this is me setting the record straight. Poppy has also been emotionally and mentally abused by Titanic. It was already clear before that he had a major influence on her persona and career, but she finally severed ties with him. She was free and continued being her own new thing. Around this time in late 2019, she began seeing musician Eric Whitney, who's more recognized by the name Ghostmane. They got engaged a year later and even appeared in one of her videos. In general, her more recent non-music content has a different focus. In January 2020, she released her third album titled I Disagree, a song from which Poppy got her first Grammy nomination. She also released a cover for the song All the Things She Said, which some say is better than the original. She's been making new songs recently, all in conjunction with a new album releasing on September 24th, 2021, which is less than a week away. Poppy's history on YouTube is bizarre. She didn't even really have any peak periods of popularity for her music, with just for her videos, but I decided not to focus on those as much since everybody already knows about that. To me, what's really interesting is her persona and her struggles over her identity. Titanic was a truly horrible person, and the result of that was her songs getting a lot darker. She strayed away from her original style, and makes an almost different genre of music now. No matter when you first heard of her, you have to admit, she's creative and bizarre.